Good morning, Coast to Coast Sports Radio listeners. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here on February 11th, 2007, and we have some breaking news coming out of the NFL, courtesy of our friends over at ESPN.com. I'm just going to read the article verbatim, and then I'm going to open up the lines so callers can call in. NFL labor storm brewing, league and players union on collision course. A week removed from the Indianapolis Colts' 29-17 triumphs over the Chicago Bears in Super Bowl 41, the NFL should be basking in the afterglow of another successful season. Instead, dark clouds loom over the league's imminent future, as tensions between the NFL and the NFL Players Association are reaching a boiling point. Negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement have all but broken down, and sources on both sides confirm that a work stoppage, once unthinkable in the modern NFL, is now a very real possibility for the 2007 season. With NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell barely 5 months into his tenure, facing his first major crisis, and NFLPA Executive Director Greg Upshaw determined to push for greater benefits and player protections, the stage is set for what could be the league's most significant labor battle in decades. The crutch of the conflict. At the heart of the dispute are three key issues: revenue sharing, player health benefits, and guaranteed contracts. Owners led by the Chicago Bears' Virginia McCaskey and Washington Redskins' Dan Snyder are seeking to adjust revenue-sharing structures, arguing that the current system disproportionately benefits smaller market teams while placing financial strain on higher revenue franchises. Meanwhile, the NFLPA is prioritizing long-term health care for retired players and an increase in guaranteed money within player contracts, something the league's power brokers have been hesitant to embrace. Upshaw has publicly stated that the current system, which leaves many retired players struggling with medical bills from their playing days, is unacceptable. The players built this game, Upshaw said in a recent interview. They put their bodies on the line, and too many of them are left behind when the lights go off. If we have to fight to get them what they deserve, then we will. Lockout on the horizon. The NFL CBA, originally agreed upon in 1993, is set to expire, and if the two sides fail to find common ground in the coming months, owners could opt to lock out players out of training camp or the regular season in 2007. An outcome that would send shockwaves through the league. We're not going to give in just because the NFL thinks they have the leverage, one veteran player told ESPN, on the condition of anonymity. Ugh. We have families to feed, but we also have the right to fight for a fair deal. NFLPA representatives have already begun advising players to prepare financially for a possibility of a lost season, urging to save money where they can in the event paychecks stop coming. Goodell's biggest test yet? Goodell, who succeeded Paul Tagliabue as commissioner in September, finds himself in a trial-by-fire scenario. His reputation as a disciplinarian has already been tested in the handling of player conduct policies, but the labor dispute presents a far more complex challenge. Despite the acrimony, there is still hope that both sides can hammer out a resolution before the situation escalates into a full-blown crisis. However, as of now, the divide between the owners and players appears to be as wide as ever. It's going to take real compromise, a high-ranking league source told ESPN. Right now, I'm not sure if either side is ready to budge. With free agency and the NFL draft on the horizon, the league should be focused on its on-field product. Instead, the specter of a work stoppage is growing larger by the day. If something doesn't give soon, fans may find themselves starting in autumn without football for the first time in modern NFL history. Alright, that is a doozy. I'm going to open up the lines and you can call in. Welcome back, listeners. We have another breaking news story coming out of the NFL labor dispute. Once again, coming from ESPN.com, I'm just going to read the article verbatim, and then we're going to open up the lines. NFLPA calls for strike if labor talks implode. What was once a looming threat has now become a full-blown crisis. The National Football League Players Association has officially called for a player strike after labor negotiations with the NFL has collapsed late Saturday night, sending the league into uncharted waters. With the offseason now mired in uncertainty and the season in jeopardy, tensions between the players and owners have reached an all-time high. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and NFLPA Executive director Gene Upshaw have been engaged in a last-ditch effort to salvage talks, but sources say that discussion has broken down. NFLPA, we had no choice. In a fiery press conference Sunday morning, Upshaw announced the players' decision to walk out. This is not what we wanted, but the owners have left us no choice, Upshaw declared. The players are unified in their fight for fair treatment, long-term health protections, and guaranteed earnings. If the league refuses to meet at the table with with real solutions, then we will not play. The NFLPA strike marks the first work stoppage since the 1987 players' strike, which led to the use of replacement players for 3 weeks. However, this strike threatens to be far more prolonged and disruptive, with reports that star players are already organizing picket lines outside team facilities. NFL's response: owners stand firm. League owners, led by Chicago's Virginia McCaskey and Washington's Dan Snyder, issued a joint statement condemning the strike and vowing not to cave to demands they view as excessive. This is a deeply disappointing decision by the NFLPA, the statement read. The league has presented fair proposals that ensure the long-term stability of the NFL. The players have decided to walk away, and we will be prepared for all possible scenarios moving forward. Goodell, who is facing his toughest challenge, his test yet as commissioner, has remained largely silent since the breakdown in negotiations, but insiders suggest that the league is already considering legal actions to challenge the strike's legitimacy. What happens now? With the NFLPA calling for a strike effective immediately, teams are bracing for an uncertain offseason. The free agency period, scheduled to begin in March, may be delayed indefinitely, with the April's NFL draft though April's NFL draft could be held under protest. Training camps were set to open in July and are now at risk of being completely abandoned. While the league has yet to announce any contingency plans, speculation is already swirling about the possibility of replacement players, much like in 1987. However, given the heightened state of player solidarity, such a move could provoke even greater backlash. Players speak out. Prominent players have taken to the media to voice their support for the strike. Colts quarterback Peyton Manning, fresh off his Super Bowl 41 victory, stated the players must take a stand. We love this game and we love our fans, but we have to fight for what is right, Manning said. We can't keep letting the league take advantage of players, past and present. We stand together. Meanwhile, Bears linebacker Brian Urlacher warned that this could be a long battle. We're not going to break, Urlacher said. If the owners think we're going to back down, they've got another thing coming. Uncertain futures for the NFL. With the NFLPA standing firm and the league refusing to budge, the sport finds itself at a crossroads. Will cooler heads prevail before the season is lost, or will the NFL be headed to a prolonged labor war that could damage the game's popularity for years to come? One thing is for certain, the fight has just begun. Wow, oh wow, we've got more news coming out of the NFL labor dispute. Breaking once again from ESPN.com, I'm just going to read the article verbatim, and we are then going to open up the phone lines. Kurt Warner joins Arena League amid NFL strike. As the NFL labor crisis deepens, one of the league's most respected veterans is making a bold statement. Kurt Warner, a two-time NFL MVP and Super Bowl winning quarterback, has announced he's returning to his roots, signing a contract with the Arizona Rattlers of the Arena Football League. Warner, who famously rose to NFL stardom after playing in the AFL with the Iowa Barnstormers in the mid-1990s, say his decision is about more than just football. It's about proving that that players don't need the NFL to play the game they love. Warner, football is bigger than the NFL. In a press conference alongside Rattlers president Blake Edwards, Warner emphasized that his move is a stand against the NFL's rigid control over the sport. I played this game at every level, and I don't need a billion-dollar league to define my love for football, Warner said. The NFLPA is fighting for what is right, but that doesn't mean we have to sit on our hands while this drags on. Fans deserve football, and I'm going to give it to them. Warner, 35, was expected to compete for the starting job with the Arizona Cardinals in this upcoming season before the strike put that in limbo. Now he's stepping onto a much smaller stage, but one that helped launch his career more than a decade ago. AFL welcomes the star. The Rattlers, one of the AFL's most successful franchises, wasted no time capitalizing on the Warner signing. The team has already seen a spike in ticket sales and merchandise purchases since the announcement. This is the biggest signing in AFL history, Edwards said. Kurt Warner is a legend, and we're thrilled to have him bring his talents and leadership to our team. This is a huge moment for the Arena League. Warner's return to the AFL has also sparked conversation among other NFL players, possibly following his lead. With the strike showing no signs of resolution, could more players seek alternative leagues to keep playing? NFL owners dismissed the move. Not surprisingly, Warner's decision has not been well received by NFL owners. League officials reportedly view the move as a publicity stunt and a potential distraction from ongoing negotiations. We respect Kurt as a player, but the idea that the Arena League is a viable alternative to the NFL is laughable. Said an anonymous NFL executive. He's free to do what he wants, but the best players in the world play in the NFL, and that's not going to change. Players show support. Many striking NFL players, however, have praised Warner's move as an inspiring stand for player independence. NFLPA Executive Director Gene Upshaw commended Warner for taking control of his career while still backing the union's fight. This is exactly the kind of statement that proves that players aren't just pawns in the league's game, Upshaw said. Kurt Warner is reminding the world that football belongs to the players, not just the NFL. Teammates and opponents alike have chimed in with admiration. I love it, said New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees. Kurt is a guy who's always done things his way, and it inspires other guys to explore their options even better. What's next? With Warner set to make his debut for the Rattlers in the coming weeks, fans will be watching closely to see if he can once again dominate the Arena League. But beyond his personal journey, his moves could have wider implications. If other NFL stars follow Warner's lead and seek playing opportunities outside the league, the owners could soon realize that the players have more leverage than they thought. For now, Warner is focused on the game he loves, wherever it's played. Football is football, he said, and I'm not done playing it yet. February certainly has been a month that has kept on giving. Bro is here with another breaking story, once again courtesy of ESPN. Just gonna read it verbatim. NFL players flocked to the Arena League after Warner's bold move. Kurt Warner's decision to join the Arizona Rattlers was seen as a bold personal stand against the NFL's ongoing labor dispute. But just 3 days later, it has become something much bigger, a movement. A wave of NFL players, from rising stars to seasoned veterans, have now followed Warner's lead, signing contracts with teams across the Arena Football League in what is dubbed the biggest player exodus in league history. The AFL, once considered to be a niche alternative to the NFL, is suddenly transforming into the center of the professional football world. AFL teams see an influx of talent. Since Warner's signing, AFL franchises have been scrambling to sign top-tier NFL talent. Among the biggest moves, Terrell Owens, wide receiver, signed with the Dallas Desperados. The flamboyant wide receiver, never once to shy away from the spotlight, is keeping his celebrity power in the Lone Star State. Brian Urlacher, the linebacker, joins the Chicago Rush. The former Bears captain has vowed to bring defense to the Arena League. Running back Reggie Bush inked the deal with the New Orleans Voodoo. The Saints running back, just a year into his NFL career, wants to keep playing football and bring football back to the fans. Michael Vick, quarterback, has headed to the Georgia Force. The Falcons star quarterback, one of the most electrifying players in the NFL, opts to stay in Georgia's capital. These signings and many more have caused an immediate surge in interest in the AFL, with ticket sales skyrocketing and television networks scrambling to renegotiate broadcasting rights. NFL owners furious as league scrambles. Well, the players' movement to the AFL seems as a victory for the NFLPA. NFL owners are reportedly livid. Sources say league executives never expected a large-scale player shift and are now pressuring Commissioner Roger Goodell to find a way to regain control. This is spiraling out of control, said one anonymous NFL owner. We assumed that the players would just sit and wait. Now we're watching our biggest stars play in a rival league while we're stuck in labor negotiations. The league has yet to issue an official statement, but rumors are circulating that owners may attempt to enforce contractual clauses to prevent players from playing elsewhere. However, with the NFLPA firmly backing the players' right to seek work during a strike, Such efforts could lead to legal battles that further delay a resolution. Warner, this is bigger than me. Kurt Warner, whose decision set off this chain reaction, is embracing his role in the movement. I didn't expect all of this, but I love it, Warner said. This is about more than just one player. It's about proving that football isn't just the NFL's game to control. The AFL, meanwhile, is welcoming the chaos with open arms. League Commissioner C. David Baker has called this the most exciting time in arena football history and has hinted at expanding team rosters that accommodate the influx of talent. Could this change football forever? With more and more players reportedly in talks with AFL teams, some are wondering if this could permanently reshape the football landscape. Could the AFL become a legitimate alternative to the NFL? And if the strike drags on, will owners be forced to concede to the NFLPA's demands and stop the talent drain? For now, one thing is clear. The NFL's labor dispute is no longer just about negotiations in the boardroom. It is spilled out onto the field, and the game is changing right in front of our eyes. We've got more breaking news coming out of the NFL, or in this case, should I say the AFL. Once again, coming from our friends over at ESPN.com. AFL delay season announcing historic player allocation draft. The Arena Football League is no longer just an alternative for striking NFL players, it's now the center of the football world. With the influx of NFL talent coming at an unprecedented rate, the AFL has made a landmark decision to delay the start of the 2007 season by 1 month, pushing kickoff back to April 6th. The league will use the extra time to organize what is being called the most significant player allocation draft in football history, set for March 9th. With dozens of former NFL stars signing with AFL teams over the past few days, league officials quickly realized that their current structure wasn't built to handle such a massive talent shift. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the AFL, and we have to do what is right, said AFL Commissioner C. David Baker. We want every team to benefit from this talent infusion, and we also want to maintain the competitive balance that makes our league great. That's why we're taking a step back and restructuring our rosters fairly. The AFL's original season was set to begin in early March, but with new signings happening daily, teams needed more time to finalize contracts, adjust salary structures, and prepare for a new style of play that will feature some of the biggest names in football. 20-round player allocation draft set for March 9th. To ensure the fair distribution of talent, the AFL will hold a 20-round player allocation draft on March 9th. Every AFL team will participate, selecting from the pool of former NFL players who have signed contracts since the strike began. However, in a unique twist, the league has introduced a special geographic protection rule to maintain fan interest and regional rivalries. The rule states that each AFL team will be allowed to retain up to 5 players who previously played for their city's NFL team before entering the general draft pool. For example, the Philadelphia Soul will have the first rights to former Eagles players like quarterback Donovan McNabb, while the Chicago Rush can retain linebacker Brian Urlacher. The remaining players will enter the general draft pool, ensuring all teams will still have access to elite talent. The draft order will be determined by a weighted lottery favoring teams that had a lower record in the previous AFL season. What this means for teams and players, the restructuring means that, while some players may end up on the teams they originally chose, others may find themselves moving to a new location. Some teams that previously lacked NFL connections could suddenly find themselves loaded with top-tier talent. This is the best way to spread talent evenly and make every city get a chance to see high-level football, said Blake Edwards, president of the Arizona Rattlers. We're building something special here. For the players, this could mean major pay raises as the AFL adjusted its salary cap structure to accommodate the financial realities of having higher-profile athletes on board. While still nowhere near NFL money, AFL contracts are expected to be restructured to make the league more financially competitive, and as per players' request, fully guaranteed. NFL remains silent as crisis deepens. With the AFL now actively reshaping itself into a viable competitor, the NFL remains in crisis mode. Commissioner Roger Goodell has yet to make a public statement regarding the shift, but league insiders say owners are scrambling to find a solution before the strike permanently alters professional football's landscape. Meanwhile, more NFL players are expected to join the AFL ranks in the coming days, further bolstering the league's credibility and competitive level. What's next? All eyes are now on the AFL's March 9th draft, where the future of football could be reshaped in dramatic fashion. With former NFL superstars set to be distributed across the league, the AFL may soon find itself not just as a temporary refuge for striking players, but a legitimate long-term alternative to the NFL. One thing is clear, professional football as we know it is changing fast, and there's no telling how far this revolution will go.